What's up, guys? Look who it
going?
is. He's standing next to the American flag. So why are you standing next to the American flag, dude?
Because I support American companies putting out an American product for Americans by Americans. Period.
Period.
Take a look at my shirt. There's flags on it too. Yeah, American. Right.
So you guys won't believe where we are today. I cannot wait to introduce you to this great team. And if you're trying to bulletproof your Duramax diesel, this is the first step to that. Let's get started. So have you guys ever heard of Insane Diesel? We are actually at the shop. Here's the owner.
How we doing, everybody? I'm Tanner, one of the owners of Insane Diesel, and we're gonna take a look at a few things, some of our products, our 900,000 mile engine, and meet with truck stuff.
Absolutely. So you can get people to 1 million miles. Is that what you're saying?
We can get people to 2 million miles. You know the.
Hey, sign this up. We need it because they're building trash right now. So we need some steps here to try to get these trucks going 200,000-300,000 miles without any problems. So
yeah, that's easy. 200,000-300,000, we can do that in
okay.
one step.
So right behind you, is that some of the parts that we're going to be looking at today?
So this is the bypass filter for your 8 to 16 quart sump systems. You've got your 1 micron filter element here. It's progressive, so it filters from 10. By the time it gets down to here, out of the bottom, it's 1. Beta 200, 98.7% efficiency.
Okay.
And then we've got multiple different mounting options. This is a Duramax under the hood mount. This is the Duramax fill cap. You got these nice fittings that go on the in and outside of the housing.
Okay.
Made in America. Down there on the bottom. American made. And that's your fill cap fitting.
Those are all
Pressure ports.
fittings so that we don't have to worry about fatigue on the.
Yep. So these swivel there and these as well. So you don't have to worry about clocking where they end up.
Let's take a quick break. I know this video is going to be kind of long, but be sure to watch it all the way through because we are going to be showing you guys a power stroke with almost 1 million miles that use this system. Also, we'll be going over the oil that it used with the fuel additive. So these 3 products will have a discount code in the description. So be sure to watch the video all the way through so you guys can get a good explanation of what they do. And I'll be doing some follow-up videos in the future for my truck. Really quick, is there 2 ways you can mount this to, by the way?
Yeah, so for Duramax guys, you've got your under the hood mount. This is your frame mount. Utilizes these 2 holes on the side of the housing here. And you can mount that in any position you want, upside down, sideways, any way you want. On the frame, on a cross member, anything strong enough to a piece of the body that's flat.
Okay.
This goes in your secondary alternator mounting holes. So if you don't have dual alternators, you can use your under the hood mount. For the 2001 to 2019 Duramaxes, this is your pressure port. Replaces a plug on the filter housing with your 90 here into this, and then a hose fitting onto it. And then that runs to your in port on the housing, and then your out port runs out to your fill cap.
Got you.
On your 2020 and newer, we've got a couple different options. This is your pressure port, replaces a plug on the oil filter housing as well. It's just bigger. And then you get this 90-degree hose fitting off of it. And then option 1, you can replace your drain pan plug with this adapter fitting, and then this fitting goes into there so that you can swivel your drain plug out with the hose still connected. Second option is you still utilize this fitting, but if you get a CCV delete kit from VSE, they have an option where they have a pre-drilled tap port in the top of the fill cap lid that comes with the billet setup, and this fitting will just thread right down into it.
Nice.
To return it back to the thing if you have a crankcase delete.
Okay.
And if we can't get that, we can remove and tap their existing VSE and their fill cap.
So their VSE kit comes with a separate box for the crankcase that's billet aluminum, and then it comes with a fill neck that's built aluminum with a new fill cap, because it has to be a smaller diameter because of where it's located on the engine.
Moves it in front of that boost tube.
Yep. It's real. If you have the Banks intake, it's like this close to it with the small diameter fill cap. But like I said, with VSE, you can have them do an option of having a port in the fill cap. They already do that. And so when they do that, you just need this fitting rather than this, so you can still order the same kit if you have the CV delete as well.
Okay, so here's the question. This is considered bulletproofing your Duramax. Why would you say that it is?
So this is bulletproofing your Duramax because it pulls all the wear metals, particles, soot down to 1 micron. We've learned over the years that anything below 1 micron doesn't cause wear. Anything above 1 micron does. In fact, GM did a study probably 20 years ago where they increased the filter element from like a 25 to a 20 micron, and said that it increased the longevity of the engine 4 to 5 times just by reducing 5 microns. So going from a 25 micron to a 20 micron. And so this goes down to 1.
Okay.
And you'll see here in a minute when we pop open the 900,000 mile 6.7.
You have proof?
There's no wear on bearings.
You have proof here?
Proof here.
Oh, dude, we got proof, guys. Hey, he brought the receipts today.
Yeah.
Let's go. Can we show that really quickly?
Yeah.
Let's do it. There it is, guys. They got the receipts.
So here's some stuff you've seen on some other channels, I'm sure, but here's your crank bearings.
Are you kidding me?
Still has the coating on them.
Say that mileage one more time, just so everybody's understanding.
900,000 mile 6.7 power stroke. These are known for taking out the mains because of poor oiling.
That's the manufacturer of the bearings coating that they put on.
Yes, and the only reason it has scratch marks in it is because the needle bearings failed and sent metal through the engine. Scratch marks on it. They measured this. It's within Ford factory specification tolerances still. So 0 wear at 900,000 miles. That's the top side. So cam bearings, same thing. Here's your top and bottom. It's not even worn through to anywhere you can see any of the copper. Usually that's the first thing you see is copper on these bearings. Same thing, measured them, still within Ford factory specification tolerances.
What else was done to this engine?
Nothing.
Was there anything done to it?
Nope.
Just a bypass and it went a million?
Bypass and his regular maintenance. He changed the fuel filters often. He changed the oil often at first, but then he went to the point where his last few oil changes, he was doing 25, 35,000 miles.
So that's where the benefit of the oil analysis comes in.
Because he knew he could go
Right.
25, 35,000 miles.
Once you get those analysis results back in, you can start tailoring your oil change.
Yep. To what you're doing, what your
Right.
driving style is.
So whether you're towing and hauling all the time or you're light load all the time, you could essentially go 30,000 just depending on what the oil analysis is bringing back.
Exactly.
as a result.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you're doing a whole bunch of light driving, you can go a lot farther than that. So.
Do you want to change your regular filters at all throughout that?
Yeah, so we usually say 15,000 miles, change the bypass filter, change your engine filter. Even though the washable oil filters that we've opened up, or that you can wash them out, they're stainless braided stuff in them.
Right.
Nothing washes out of them if you have a bypass filter. You might get like a large hair or something that went into the oil somewhere, a piece of fiber in there, but the rest of it, there's nothing in the engine filter. But because they make them out of like the paper pulp, it can start degrading, and so you want to keep them changed at least once a year. But we just say every time you change that one, change your engine filter as well too. So.
But you're not dropping $200 worth of oil out. You're just changing the filters and then topping it back off.
Yep. So.
Hey Josh, can you pick up one of those pistons? Why is that so small, man?
Because it's a Ford. Because this is what you get with
I couldn't help myself.
This is what you get with a V8 versus a inline six.
Yeah.
It looks
You
good.
can still see the aluminum
Wow.
on the piston.
So
that's from the Lorenzo's oil, or the Lorenzo's fuel enhancement. It reduces hydrocarbons by 90% at idle.
Oh my God, we're going to talk about that more here in a minute. But I want to show this as being a big testament because diesels are known for pistons rocking in the cylinder wall, and it wears out the skirts, right? The manufacturer paint is still mostly covering the skirt of that piston, meaning...
And it didn't hardly ever.
Yeah.
The rocking that it did wasn't enough.
That was probably off of a couple cold starts.
Yeah.
To be honest
for sure.
with you. Yeah.
For sure. So these measurements obviously are still good. We measured these cylinders. One of them's loose.
The wrist pins.
Somewhere the wrist pins we measured. We measured everything on the crank, everything on the cam. Everything was still in Ford factory tolerances. The rockers, I mean, have no wear on the push rods. So for you Duramax guys, the other part of this that I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned anywhere in the videos is that he had one of our oil cooler upgrades on it as well, which has a lot to do with if you can keep your engine at optimal operating temperature between 180 and 220. Would you agree?
Yeah. 220. Yeah. You always want to see your engine oil temperature pretty much in line with your coolant temperature.
Yeah.
When you start seeing elevated engine oil temperatures, then you know you have more friction in the motor.
Yep.
That's causing wear, and it's also over 235. You start to degrade the oil quality.
Yep.
So you want to keep that oil as cool as possible.
So if you keep that's how we kind of solved that problem, is if you keep it at optimal running temperature with the right products, the filter cleaning the oil, the fuel additive keeping the fuel side clean and protected, and the oil with the TS2 guard coating everything so that nothing wears. Temperature is a part of that as well too. And so I don't have any here on hand with me, but we have the oil cooler upgrades available on the website.
Okay.
As well as the fuel additive, the oil, and everything that was used to, have no wear on a 900,000 mile power stroke.
Now, when we're talking about this 1 million miles, we talk about diesels all the time, of identifying the wear points and the problems with it, and one of the problems is with the after treatment systems on them. The DPF, let's just call it what it is. They're all a piece.
Yeah.
But they're running these DPFs to where they're regenerating anywhere between 400 and 600 miles.
Yep.
That is because of the lack of lubricity and the lack of quality in the diesel fuels that we're able to buy here in the United States.
Yep.
This takes care of that, right?
So this is a polymer based fuel additive, and what the polymer does is it encapsulates the diesel fuel or gasoline if you use it in your gasoline engines.
This can be used in both.
Encapsulates the fuel so that as it sprays out of the injector, it tries to spray all the same size molecules so that when the ignition happens, they all burn at the same time frame and temperature. And so reducing regens by 60% is generally what we see on that. We've had some of the one guy was regenning every 400 miles. His second tank with the Lorenzos in it, they went through a cleaning, basically went into regen mode, and when it came out, it didn't regen for 4,000 miles. And that's from the reduction in hydrocarbons.
I want you guys to take a listen to this really quick. We went from 400 to 4,000. If you take and do some math really quick, I'm pretty good with numbers, and don't pull out a calculator and start, blowing me up here. But if we take a look over 100,000 mile stretch and you're regenerating every 400 miles, you're looking at, gosh, what is it? I'm not
10.
even. Yeah, and then you're going to every 4,000. You're looking at almost a 3,000% reduction in regens, which means the DPF is not working near as hard. Let's call it a 10% ratio, duty cycle ratio, versus at the 400 mile regen interval. So not only are you using the DPF a lot less, and it's not working near as hard as it was, that means it's also going to last a lot longer, because again, we'll talk about the oil cooler and keeping temperatures in control. I also promote using coolant bypasses again to keep your temperatures in check, just to reduce the amount of work that the after treatments have to go through. So in this specific instance, oxides of nitrogen, what like the SCR is trying to control, is produced from combustion chamber temperature. Now, if we can reduce all of that, and they've tried with their EGR coolers and EGR systems and all of that crap to reduce combustion chamber temperatures, the other side of attacking that is by using something that's going to make your fuel burn on a molecular level a lot more evenly and completely than without it. I hope I didn't just spin words in Chinese around here, but
No, it sounded just about perfect.
right. So keeping your temperatures in your engine using an oil cooler, using a bypass coolant system, and by making sure that what you're burning through the engine is a lot more efficient, and the additives in the oil. This is how you get these engines to go 1,000,000 miles.
Reducing friction reduces heat as well. And
Yes.
so for the oil and the fuel and the bypass filter, reduce friction, you reduce heat.
Everything works hand in hand.
Yep.
You know, we were talking earlier about my 240,000 mile Hemi, and what I'm seeing on oil temperatures right now. We know my motor's going out the door, and that's my next project with my truck, is replacing that engine.
Yeah.
Which I've already said, hey, I want one of your oil coolers because, you know, I'm seeing very elevated engine oil temperatures in that, even though my coolant temperatures are within, you know, an acceptable range. But this can also be used in a gas engine. So, you know, here at Truck Stuff, we're not all about diesel, even though that's 90% of the work that I do. We're about maintaining these engines and improving the fail points and using the oil bypasses, the coolant bypasses, and the correct additives in there in order to get as many miles as we can out of it. Now, I've had a ton of people ask me over the years, not years, sorry, months, of what additives I'm going to recommend. And out of everything that I've looked at and watched, this one right here is probably going to be, not probably, it's going to be the number one that I'm going to recommend.
So the other great part about it is that because you're burning the fuel more completely, it uses less fuel, and so you get a little bit of savings on your fuel economy. With your regens being reduced, that's a big chunk of fuel that's being dumped down the exhaust.
Especially
so on diesels, it's very impressive. On gasoline engines, you're probably between 10 and 20% fuel economy savings. On diesels, we've seen some of them that do 40%.
Well, and on a Cummins, where they use fuel stacking to light off the DPF,
Yep.
if you're not stacking that fuel every
you're keeping
400
it in your tank.
miles, right, and we're not seeing the oil levels grow in the engine.
Yep, and you're not seeing the fuel in the oil levels in the engine either. Or I think that's what you're talking about, right? Yeah, the fuel
the
growing
dilution.
in the engine.
So
yeah.
we've
It's
done,
not seeing the fuel dilution in the oil.
right, yeah, we've done several videos on fuel dilution and contamination, and using these programs that we're putting in place, especially with my bulletproofing program, and now with this partnership that I'm hoping that we're going to have with the Insane Diesel guys, being able to run their product and their components with the oil filter bypass, this is how we're going to get these motors to 1,000,000 miles or more.
Yeah, easily 1,000,000 miles. The other impressive part about these pistons are these little oiler holes here. These are always full of soot when you pull an engine down at 100,000 miles. All he did was run this through the wash. It didn't, he didn't scrub anything or do anything. You can still see every single one of the holes in the oiler ring. And talking about the fuel dilution, the TS2 guard that's in Lorenzo's oil seals mating surfaces, basically, from the piston rings to the cylinder walls, so that you get less fuel into the oil and less oil being burned in the combustion chamber.
I learned a lot today. So if you guys are looking to start looking at bulletproofing your truck, if you're planning on keeping it for long term, you guys know that the trucks aren't being built as good as they used to be. We see that. The oil cooler is failing at an alarming rate. I've done a couple videos on my channel. I didn't know you had an oil cooler upgrade, by the way. I knew about the bypass, but did not know about the cooler. So what's your website?
InsaneDiesel.com.
InsaneDiesel.com. So if anyone can go on and buy any of the products that you have here.
Yep.
And you have a kit for the 2000, you said 2000 to 2019 Duramax?
2001 to 2019 is one kit, and then the 2020
Plus.
to present is the other kit.
Perfect. Got you. And if somebody wants to run the bypass in the engine bay, they would have to get a CCV upgrade from...
On the 2020 and newer, if you want to return the oil to fill cap, you'll need a CCV delete.
Okay.
We suggest VSE.
But yeah, see, there it is.
I've
Awesome.
installed several VSs.
Yeah. And then again, you guys heard, you got to run some additive for your fuel. And you got to make sure you get good fuel from a good station as well. So you can buy Lorenzo's additives right here on their website as well. And yeah, I'm excited to get one of these installed in my truck.
Yeah.
Cool.
1 second though.
Okay.
You want to see something even cooler than the engine?
So what is this?
So this is the original CP4 pump off of that truck as well. You can see there's almost no wear in there on the rollers, on the...
So this has almost 1 million miles on it. A
Yep.
CP4.
Yep, CP4.
And he ran the fuel.
This our fuel additive as well as a cetane booster.
And he had the coolant, the oil cooler bypass. Or I'm sorry, oil cooler upgrade. And
with the bypass filter.
with the bypass.
Yep.
There it is.
The Lorenzo's oil with the fuel additive. Yeah. So he ran basically the whole system that we offer on the website. It's kind of your, if you want longevity out of your engine and your fuel system and your DPF, EGR, SCRs, 2, 3, 4 times the life of all of those systems basically. So
Awesome.
here's the proof.
Yeah.
There it is. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it, man. This is awesome.
No problem.